Howdy traders, excited you guys are here today. We got a good one for you. Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of a small account. And there are pros and there are cons. Now, if you guys have a small account and you're thinking, man, this account is just, keeping me from making a ton of money. Just wait a second. The money is made in the patience. Warren Buffett said, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the inpatient to the patient. And that involves taking the time with a small account or with paper trading to get to the point where we can trade with a large account. We're going to get into all of it today, so let's get straight into it. Yes, you heard it right. Patience with a capital P-A-Y. I do believe that patience not only pays off as far as your trading goes, holding some shares a little bit longer with the stock, reaping more benefits, reaping more profits, but also as far as your account goes. Don't ever let anybody tell you you need to start trading with a large account. It's just simply not true. There are many pros we're going to go over today, but it does get to the point where trading with a small account doesn't make sense. And we're going to get into that towards the end of this video, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pros of trading with a small account. Now, guys, like I said, don't let anybody tell you that you're never going to make it. You're trading with paper. You're trading with a small account, and don't be discouraged by that as well by doing that, because you're taking the necessary steps that most people don't by doing that. Two roads diverged into the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. See, you're on the narrow path if you're starting with a small account, if you're paper trading. It's very important to do that because, number one, with a small account, you remain laser focused on the best setups. Why is that? Because there's no margin for error. You cannot take many red trades or you're pretty much blown. So number one, trading with a small account helps you to really focus, helps you to find that edge, to trade what you know is the best setups. It doesn't allow you to just take a bunch of random setups out there. Random trades is going to equal random results. And by trading with a small account, you're going to eliminate kind of that just desire, that gambling desire to just want to trade anything and everything. You're going to stay focused. Now, can you trade anything and everything? Can you be gambling? Of course you can. You can with anything. But the point is, with a small account, you're doing this so that you can get some skin in the game. You don't want to start with a ton of money. Now, why do you not want to start with a ton of money? Because the stock market turns rich people poor, poor people rich. We've heard this time and time again because many people, they just want to get rich quick. They don't understand that time and experience in the market beats timing the market. Thinking, okay, this is the hottest time of the year. This is the hottest season right now. I got to trade this time. It's not about that. It's about that experience in the market that's really going to propel you forward and not lateral. But expectations are what kill many people when they jump into trading, because they expect to propel forward initially, because those are the promises that many of the gurus out there say to most people. But I like to tell the uncomforting truth to most people. I'm never going to sit here and tell you comforting lies, because we're all about honesty here. And I've said time and time again, I do believe everyone has the potential to be among the 10%, but not everyone has the persistency and the patience, the two P's, to get there. Now, staying laser focused is number one. A con to this is you're restricted to very few trades. I mean, if you're starting with a small account, you really can only take one trade at a time, in all honesty, unless you're really sizing down. And this becomes a problem in more ways than one, because A, we oftentimes will get married to a stock. This stock has to work. This is the only one I'm really trading. This is the only one I can trade within these 30 minutes or so when the market's open. There's other stocks that are hot, but this is the one I've chosen to trade, and I become kind of married to it. And then, I miss out on a lot of other plays if this one doesn't work. So frequency of trades becomes a real issue. You can't take as many trades as you'd like. Now, if you have an edge, a system in place, and there's many stocks that appear that you'd like to take, but you're only able to take one at a time, that's really going to mess you up on a small account, because you're going to become married to this one stock and it really has to work, or you take the loss and you try to move on, but now you've already wasted 30 minutes and there's not as many plays out there at this point. And not only that, let's say you take this red trade and then there's no other plays now. And then the next day you take, another trade and another trade. And then let's say the next day you take another trade and you have a red trade. Now you're not breaching your max risk, but these red trades are adding up to the point where you've hurt your account beyond remedy. And then it's really hard to dig your way out, and you try to dig your way out, and then you start digging, and which means over trading, revenge trading, and you just dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. You got to get to the point where you realize, okay, I'm in control of the digging. I need to stop digging and figure out how to alleviate this problem, this issue. All right, now let's go back to a pro. A pro of trading with a small account is, hopefully, this is disposable income. Now, I know there's really not such a thing as disposable income, but income that you pretty much detach yourself from. You're saying, I can live without this. If I lose it, so be it. You want that to be the case because you're going to be trading with less emotions behind it. Now, you want to learn your edge and trade the system that you're going to be trading with a larger account because you're now becoming the trader you're going to one day be. But you still want some skin in the game. You still want some emotions there, but you want to do that with smaller amounts of money. Because the saying goes, sacred money don't make no money. And what does that mean? It means money that you don't have, you're using to trade with, or you're deep in debt and you're trying to use trading to get yourself out of debt, or this is money you're going to need for rent or for any other bills. You don't want to trade with that capital because there's going to be heightened emotions. And the more heightened our emotions are during a trade, the worse the outcome is going to be. With that being said, trade with capital that you're okay with losing, but enough to really keep yourself in the game, because during the initial stage of your trading journey, you're learning how not to trade. As Edison said, he said, I found 1,000 ways not to make the light bulb so I could find out the way to make it. You're finding out how not to trade so that you can learn how to trade, especially when you get that large account. And this will really help develop you as a trader. It'll help develop your rules. You'll find the rules in place that you need to have for when you have a larger account. See, most people, they'll open up a large account initially without having the rules in place, without knowing their edge, without understanding risk management. They don't know any of this stuff, and then they end up blowing a large account. So it's really advantageous for you guys to start with a smaller account because you're not trying to get rich quick. You're learning how to be consistent. And once consistent, everything else follows, especially the money. Once you get consistent, the money will follow. So if you're making $20 a day right now, don't let anybody make fun of you for that, because $20 a day in a whole month, green day every single day, that's, in my opinion, better than someone trading, making $1,000, losing $3,000, making $2,000, losing $5,000. You're aiming for consistency. Once consistency's there, everything else will follow. Now, my last con for a small account is certainly going to be the fees. You're going to have software fees. You're going to have commission fees. You're going to have scanner fees, and it can eat you up. It can really eat you alive. And so sizing is going to be something you're going to have to consider as far as your trading goes to outweigh all these fees. This is simply the overhead as far as your trading goes. Now, you can talk to your accountant about it. You can write this stuff off eventually. I don't know all the details. This video is for educational purposes only. But when you get to a certain point and you're trading a certain amount, you can talk to your accountant about that and figure out all those details. But in the beginning, it's hard. I understand. And this is something you're going to have to balance out as far as your account size, your share size, and these fees. It's something you got to look at because you can be green consistently, but you take a look at your statement and you're going to be red because of all these fees. So take note of it, and you really weigh out your options. Should you paper trade a little bit longer? Should you open up this account? Expect yourself not to get rich quick, and that's kind of the best news I can give to you guys. When you don't have these expectations and then you end up losing, it's really going to alleviate that burden, because it's not really a burden and you can't see it that way. You have to not be discouraged and see this as, well, everybody loses, everybody blows up, but I just did it with smaller amounts of capital. Because the initial part of the journey looks like this. And then as time goes on, the other side is going to get a lot bigger. So you want to have a little pullback at the start and maximum upside potential. So really, what I want you guys to take from this video is focus on consistency. Don't focus on the money initially to start with a smaller account, because consistency is what is ultimately going to lead to the bigger profits. If you can make $20 a day consistently for a month, the only difference from turning that into $200 and $2,000 a day It's just adding a few zeros at the end of your order. So guys, I hope you learned something from this video. These are the pros and cons of a small account. I hope you learned something. Hit that like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button. We will see you all next time.